In this video, we will be discussing profit or loss. Because when you get a markdown, there are three possible outcomes of that markdown. The first is a reduced net profit. So that's when the revenue still exceeds expenses. But now if the revenue equals expenses, then you get a break even. So the company didn't make anything on that sale. Or there could be a loss. And that's when the revenue that they took in was less than the expenses they paid out for it. All right? And you might be questioning, why would a business sell something for a loss? Well, let's say we had a company that has an item for a year and a half, and they realize that it's not going to sell for the price it's at, so they might as well get something for it rather than it just sitting in their store. So they offered a lower cost, which is less than what they paid for it, but at least they're taking something in. All right, so to determine which of these cases a particular markdown falls into, we're going to be looking at something called the break-even point. Now the break-even point will tell you where the revenue will equal expenses. So if we add up all of the expenses for the item, we can get the break-even point. All right, so the break-even point will equal cost plus the operating expenses. All right, so now if you sell an item for more than that, you're going to get a profit. All right, we can calculate the net profit, which will be the selling price minus the break-even point, or basically the money you're getting from your customer minus everything you've spent to purchase and store that item. All right, so now if you're below that, you're going to have a loss, and we can calculate the operating loss as the break-even point minus the selling price. Notice that both of them are looking at the difference between the two values. All right, so when you get a profit, you should always have a positive net profit. When you get a loss, you should have a positive operating loss. All right, so let's go ahead and look at an example. So a carpet company paid $2,495 for an imported rug. Their operating expenses are 25% of cost. Now they've had this rug for a while, so they put it on clearance for $2,830.75. We're trying to see if they ended up with a profit or a loss, and if we find a profit, we want to find the net profit. If we find there's a loss, we need to find the operating loss. All right, so first we're going to need to find the break-even point, which will be the cost plus the operating expenses. But in order to do that, we need to find the operating expenses. Right now, we just have a percentage. So we're going to have to put that in terms of a dollar amount. This is 25% of cost, so it'll be 25% of the $2,495. which will give us $623.75. So now our break-even point will be $2,495 plus that $623.75, which will be $3,118.75. Now if we look at that compared to the clearance price or the selling price of the item, it's larger, which tells us that the company is taking a loss on the item. So then we need to find the operating loss. So it'll be our break-even point of $3,118.75 minus our selling price, which was $2,830.75, and we see an operating loss of $288.